The Origin and Impact of Globalization in Taiwan by Amanda Mara. In this presentation, I will be discussing Taiwan, globalization and its impacts on Taiwan, the pros and cons of Taiwan's economic development through globalization, one multinational corporation that operates in Taiwan called Applied Materials, Taiwan's involvement in APEC and WTO, Taiwan's accession to the CPTPP, and Taiwan's trade information. First, let's start talking about Taiwan just a little bit. Taiwan was a self-governing body for many years until it was annexed in 1683 by the Qing dynasty into China. In 1895, it was ceded to Japan after losing the Sino-Japanese War. In 1945, with Japan's defeat in World War II by the United States, Taiwan was returned back to China. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, Taiwan experienced an industrial age through exports that was aided by the United States. Taiwan experienced several economic, political, and cultural impacts through globalization. An economic impact of Taiwan globalizing includes the impact it has had on its supply chain. Not only that, but it manufactures clothes for several clothing chains like Adidas and Nike. The government of Taiwan continually encourages foreign direct investment, keeping international investors interested in Taiwan. Politically, Taiwan is left vulnerable for Chinese provocation since the trade from globalization is conducted in ports less than 100 miles away from mainland China. Culturally, many Taiwanese people are starting to have a bicultural identity because of global and local influences due to globalization. There are several pros and cons associated with globalization in Taiwan. First, one of the pros is a strong trade growth. Trade was one of the primary reasons for Taiwan's economic growth. It represented 140% of its GDP by 2012. Another pro is international prominence among the United States and the European Union. This sort of provides a silicon shield from foreign aggression because disruption in the tech industry would mean disaster for the global economy. A few cons of globalization start with the over-reliance on exports. With exports making up 70% of its GDP, this means the economy of Taiwan is highly susceptible to demand and trade tensions. Taiwan has also become highly dependent on China. And with China being Taiwan's largest trading partner, it presents a high geopolitical risk should tensions rise with China. And like other countries, one of the cons is labor issues. Taiwan is facing labor issues due to their companies internationalizing because of labor shortages, pressures at home, an aging workforce, and environmental concerns. Applied Materials Inc. is a multinational corporation that was founded in 1967. It is headquartered in Santa Clara, California, and Silicon Valley. Currently has more than 90 locations worldwide in 18 countries that include China, India, Israel, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, and of course, Taiwan. Applied Materials Taiwan Limited is a subsidiary of Applied Materials Inc. and was founded in 1989. Its headquarters is located in Hsinchu Science Park. There is also a manufacturing location in southern Taiwan Science Park that is used to manufacture display equipment. Applied Materials invested in Taiwan because semiconductors and flat panel displays are a trillion-dollar industry key to Taiwan's economy. With the rapid changes in the market of technology, Applied Materials thought it was necessary to be close to the markets as possible to avoid any delays that might lead to a loss of business opportunities. Another key reason for Applied Materials' interest in Taiwan was its location. It allowed for key components of the semiconductors to complete the supply chain for Applied Materials. APEC, or Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, is a group of 21 member countries that fund projects to help its other members grow economically. Funding for these members come from the annual contributions from the members' economies, which presently totals approximately $5 trillion. The funds go towards the projects that support the trade and economic goals of APEC. Each project has to do the following: relate to the priorities of APEC economic leaders and ministers, cover the interest of at least several member economies, build capacity, improve economic efficiency, encourage the participation of the business sector, non-governmental institutions, and women. A benefit of APEC for Taiwan was that it helped grow its GDP from $187 billion in 1991 when it joined to $761 billion in 2022. That's nearly triple. The per capita growth is similar, with $9,000 in 1991 to $32,625. A couple of uses for APEC that Taiwan has used them for is to build diplomatic relations. A project that it proposed back in 2004 called the APEC Digital Opportunity Center dispatched IT professionals to developing countries within APEC to promote digital connectivity. It was then extended for 10 years to boost the digital infrastructure in countries like Papua New Guinea that did not have that strong IT infrastructure. This is not a project that would have been possible for Taiwan if it were not a member of APEC. Another use of APEC for Taiwan is to oppose China's suppression of its economic growth. China would do this with Beijing's protesting of the United States' involvement of APEC-related visits to Taiwan during specific meetings. To help overcome this, Taiwan would direct project applications to sub-funds that they typically donate to, avoiding hostile judges. Beijing follows the same procedure. When judging project applications, countries can veto projects. Countries want to avoid vetoing projects that appear beneficial to most member countries because it looks bad, and Beijing also fears that Taiwan will veto their projects as well. This is an example of how equal procedural power is beneficial in APEC. What is WTO? Well, WTO, or the World Trade Organization, is a rules-based, member-driven organization with decisions negotiated by all member governments. It is the only global international organization designed to establish and help implement rules of trade between nations. In 2008, Taiwan used WTO, along with Japan and the United States, to request a panel by the Dispute Settlement Board of the WTO to investigate if the EU tariffs on flat panel displays was in violation of the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, or GATT. A panel was created in September of the same year, with the final decision issued in July 2010 in favor of Taiwan, the US, and Japan. In 2014, Taiwan also requested that Canada have consultations about anti-dumping measures on imports for a carbon steel welded pipe exported from Taiwan to Canada. In December of 2016, the panel ruled in favor of Taiwan. Canada had to amend its regulations as a result of this ruling in its Special Import Measures Act on June 22nd, 2017. It also amended the tax rate of other exports in Taiwan. The CPTPP, or the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, is a platform for strategy to pin down the rules-based economic order in the Indo-Pacific region. This was established in 2018 and succeeded other regional economic frameworks that have been in effect since 2005. This trade bloc includes member nations of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, Vietnam, and Singapore, and have committed to shared high standards and enforceable trade norms, enabling increased investment flows and productive competition between members. While Taiwan is not a formal member of the CPTPP yet, but it is a participant and has submitted an application. Supporting a full accession to the CPTPP would provide mutual benefits for Taiwan and its member nations, including deepening the supply chain in technology, renewable energy, and the health sector. It would also send the message that the CPTPP is committed to sovereignty, rules, strategic autonomy, and fair markets in the face of economic coercion. Some trade information about Taiwan includes its top exports, which are integrated circuits, office machine parts, broadcasting equipment, computers, refined petroleum, copper foil, hot rolled stainless steel bars, and tapioca. The top countries to receive some of Taiwan's exports were China, the United States, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan. The top imports include integrated circuits, crude, petroleum, machinery having individual functions, petroleum gas, coal, disc chemicals for electronics, railway passenger cars, halides, and other tin products. These were imported from China, Japan, the United States, South Korea, and Australia. The reason I have chosen Taiwan is because electronics is an industry that I deal with in my line of work on a daily basis, along with the semiconductor components that Taiwan trades. Learning about the globalization and how it played into the economy of Taiwan was very beneficial. Thank you.